Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for inviting me to speak at your trade day. Really appreciate it, and congratulations too on your developments of this organisation, the Victorian Carpet Cleaning Association. I can't stress enough as to how much benefit there is in these organisations. I've been working with the organisation in WA for probably a little over 10 years now. Work closely with them. And there is so much benefits I see that the members enjoy in sharing ideas, sharing challenges, sharing concerns, right from techniques through to equipment, through to even running of the business, the amount of queries that come up in relation to the accounting programs, etc. Tremendous amount of cross pollination can happen and interest. So well done. May it be strengthened, and let's move ahead. So our discussion today is going to be around urine decontamination and stain removal. Many of you, to a certain degree, to a larger or lesser degree, know a lot about the how to remove it, how to mitigate it, how to overcome it. But what I really want to stress today is the why. And that is the why it smells, why it stains, why it's so difficult to remove. By knowing the why, it gives us a greater understanding of how our chemical products can be used to the best of the ability to overcome it, to remove it, to decontaminate. The same with the equipment that we use. It also means that it gives us a much greater influence over our staff. We're able to explain to them as to the why. And once your staff themselves start to understand the why, you'll find they take a lot greater interest in it. And they want to come along on a journey for you, with you, for you. And you'll find that they are very interested in results. So it's not just the wage pack they're interested in, they also start becoming interested in results themselves. And lastly, and almost maybe most importantly, is that you start becoming a very trusted advisor to your clients. So share some of these details that we're going to be sharing today, share them with your clients. Some of these facts and figures. And whilst they may not get it all, whilst they may not understand it all, what it gives them is a certain trust in you, confidence in you, that you know what you're dealing with, that they are happy and feel confident about entrusting their investment in their carpets with you. In fact, they can't actually afford to do without you. That's the kind of clients that you want. And those are the kind of clients that become cheerleaders for you. They're the ones who give you referrals. So it's so important to understand not just the how, but the why. And to this end, we're going to share this presentation with you. So it gives you several really clear diagrams, pictures, explanations, so that you can use them with your staff and with your company to help you along the road in becoming that trusted advisor to your clients. Urine decontamination and stain removal really starts off with an understanding of the urine itself. And the composition of urine is what many of us know it to be: water, urea, chloride. There's many minerals as well, but it's those smaller proportions that go into the urine that really give us a challenge. These are the urochrome, the yellow pigment in urine, the bacteria, and then the cholesterol. So it's a complex biology, and it's something that we need to understand, need to get our head around. The real challenge is this uric crystal, and the uric crystal and this particular challenge it presents to us is probably the single number one reason, while still in 2024, we still battle with urine smells in washrooms and even in carpets, is because so many people still do not understand what urine is all about. Now, as carpet cleaners, we're probably the most well-educated there is in relation to urine. However, many of those in the contract cleaning business, cleaning washrooms, really struggle with this fact. And that's why so many of the washrooms, the public washrooms, still smell, are still full of malodors. You might say after so many years, in 2024, you would have thought we would have got it right by now, but we don't. And this is the reason why we do not understand the uric crystal challenge. And what it is that urine, when it is emitted from the body, when it is passed from the body, which is animal or human, it has got a acidic pH. So around about 5 to 6. We all know that. If you've seen urinals on in a bathroom which has got a marble floor, those marble tiles are etched by the drops of the urine. However, as it dries and as it ages, it goes through this metabolic process which involves bacteria, and it turns into a alkaline crystal. Not only just an alkaline crystal, but a very, very robust alkaline crystal. And this alkaline crystal has a pH of 11 to 12. That is quite high. That is quite strongly alkaline. By no coincidence, it is the similar pH to ammonia. It emits ammonia, and we know that. If we've gone into an old age home that is very poorly cared for, or into some of these animal shelters, we can smell the ammonia from the urine. Furthermore, it encapsulates the bacteria. In other words, it almost guards it, prevents it from being acted on by disinfectant. And secondly, it has a high concentration of the urochrome dye. Why do I mention that? It's because we all know that urine has got a yellow look to it. But just take the vast majority of the water out of it as it dries, and that urochrome dye becomes very, very concentrated in the carpet or in the grout lines if we're dealing with a hard surface. So the uric crystal, even though it may dry and the smell may die away, the minute there's any moisture, just simply even the moisture in the air, it will be re-moistened and the smell will regenerate. So it becomes what I term a multifaceted challenge. So we need to know what we're dealing with. So what I've just gone over is, you might say, the why as to why it does these things. This is the results of those aspects. We'll end up with very robust urine dye staining. There's the malodor. There's the bacterial contamination. There is cholesterol buildup. Not something that many come across, but cholesterol buildup is something that does happen. And then finally is fiber damage. And I'd like to touch on that. We've very seldom come across it, but I've come across several instances in the last 3 to 4 months where fibers have been damaged by the urine. Understanding these factors and how they are overcome enables us to create effective urine decontamination processes. So let's have a look at the dye staining. This is a yellow stain caused by the urochrome, and let's have a look as to what that removal chemistry looks like. Most of the staining, to a large degree, will be removed using an organic acid. This can be glycolic acid, acetic acid, even oxalic acid. Very, very effective on a urochrome dye. However, it is certainly not 100% successful in every case. Furthermore, enzymes are also quite effective at it, simply by dissolving and removing, digesting those uric crystals. A lot of the dye gets taken away. But where we have the dye as bonded to the fiber, whether it is a nylon fiber or a wool fiber, hydrogen peroxide is virtually our last resort. That oxidizing action of the hydrogen peroxide is needed to bleach away that urochrome dye. Then we have the malodor side of it. And the malodor is typically caused by that combination of the emission of ammonia, as we discussed, and secondly, the E. coli bacteria. So the E. coli bacteria has got a very specific smell. Together with the ammonia, we land up with that typical old urine smell. So first up is, once again, our neutralization treatment using an organic acid. By neutralizing the alkaline uric crystal, we will eliminate its ability to emit ammonia. So that's one of our huge parts of our malodor overcome. Secondly, enzymes is another choice. So remember, to dissolve the uric crystal is an absolute must. If we don't dissolve the uric crystal, we haven't started in eliminating or decontaminating urine. And there is only 2 ways to eliminate that uric crystal. The one is with organic acids, neutralizing it, and the second is with enzymes. So using enzymes as an alternative source of decontamination, the enzymes digest the uric crystal and converting it into a harmless combination of CO2 and water, which is also odorless. Now, that removes the source of the odor, which is what we need. However, there's still a lot of odors that have already been emitted that'll be trapped within the fibers, and that's where odor neutralizing technology comes in. The Actichem odor neutralizing technology that we've incorporated in many of our products is called Elimotech, and that attacks malodors at a molecular level, changing their molecular structure so that they cannot return to a malodor molecule again, and entirely rendering them odorless. Now, the third aspect that we find in urine decontamination is the bacteria. So we do have the bacterial contamination, and this is something that most people are more afraid with. They know that there's bacteria involved, and this is possibly the downfall of many people, is that they try and tackle urine contamination, whether it's on hard surfaces or soft surfaces, with a bactericide, without understanding that we have to remove and neutralize that uric crystal first. Otherwise, any disinfectant biocidal solution is not going to be able to play an effective role in neutralizing the E. coli bacteria, because it is encapsulated within that uric crystal. So the uric crystal must first be neutralized before we can attempt any microbial action. So once we've done that, the antimicrobial agents can be hydrogen peroxide, thyme oil, glutaraldehyde. On carpets, we don't typically use it, but it could be a quaternary ammonium compound mix that we'd use on a hard surface. The other option is coming back to the enzymes. Enzymes will digest the uric crystal, and they also neutralize the bacteria in this process. They cannot exactly be relied on to leave the surface germ-free, but they can be relied on to leave the surface safe. So enzymes are actually play a very important role if you go down that road in relation to urine decontamination. Having a look at the cholesterol buildup, and I don't believe we come across this very often. However, cholesterol buildup can happen if a human or an animal, typically it's an animal, has urinated in the same area regularly over a long period of time. And what happens is you land up with this cholesterol, it's like an oily, greasy buildup on the carpets. And this needs to really be removed before we tackle the urine. This can simply be done with a good quality pre-spray. You can even add a small amount of a solvent booster in it. But typically it's an oily, greasy substance which can be removed, which is something that most of us are familiar with removing in any case. And then we can proceed with the urine decontamination process. Lastly, we have this challenge of fiber damage. Now, remember that we said the uric crystal is very highly alkaline. Now, the alkaline pH of over 11, between 11 and 12, is high enough to destabilize the acid-based dyes that we find in both nylon carpets and wool carpets. Now, furthermore, that high pH is also high enough to damage the wool fiber itself. So it comes down to the type of urine in the sense of being an animal or a human, and what they ate and what their diet is and medication taken, etc. However, just working on the pH alone, the pH is high enough to damage these fibers, damage the acid-sensitive dyes, and the dyes themselves will remain in place. So the carpet simply looks like it's just got a urine stain. However, when you come to remove it, those dyes are so unstable that simply the removal process will remove those dyes out of the stained area, and it looks like you have bleached the carpet. What's worse is that the dyes that are first off removed are the most sensitive to this type of destabilization, are your darker dyes, the blues and the greens, etc. And what that gets left with is the yellows and the oranges, which gives you very much the appearance of a bleached out carpet. Now, at that point, the customer firmly believes that you have bleached their carpet, and it's a difficult one to wriggle out of, because that's all the evidence points to that. It didn't look like that before you started. However, the point is that those dyes were destabilized by the animal's urine. You simply remove them. And what this comes down to is that you need to make sure that you have a good pre-qualification discussion with your customer. If I was doing any urine removal, I would always have that pre-qualification discussion. It may be even worthwhile just putting a sheet together. Say, these are the dangers that are associated with removing dye out of carpets, is that the color can be compromised by the dye, and by pursuing this decontamination process, albeit that we're using the correct chemicals, the correct methods, the correct equipment, the dyes may be removed, and this is what the result can be. So make sure that you always discuss the possibility of this with your client before you start. So if we have a look at some of the products that are available from the Actichem range, the Pet and Flood is a product which is very, very popular across Australia in relation to urine decontamination. One of the reasons is that it finds itself so popular is because of the combination of what it does. It has got a variety of organic acids in there which very effectively neutralize those uric alkaline crystals. Furthermore, it has got a very strong bactericide in it, so it kills any of the remaining bacteria. And thirdly, it has got the Elimatech odor neutralizing technology in it. So it neutralizes those odors at a molecular level so they cannot return. And lastly, it has got a fresh scent, which what I call a replacement scent. So it replaces the scent that's in the area. So you might say reboots or re-energizes the olfactory senses and indicates to the brain that the urine stain, the urine odor has been dealt with. Dilution of that product is typically 1:1 to 1:4. We are just in the process of releasing this product with a new fresh fragrance, which will be available in the early part of New Year. So look out for that one. And furthermore, we have also going to be introducing a new version with the Thymox. So we're combining the efficacy of the Pet and Flood together with Thymox. Now, I'm not sure how many of you have tried the Thymox before, but it is a revolutionary botanical disinfectant which has got an incredibly good kill rate on all of your bacteria, viruses, far greater even than just a standard hospital grade disinfectant. But thyme oil has got a certain unmatched ability to neutralize urine odors. So we've matched this with all the existing abilities of Pet and Flood, and it's certainly a product to be looked out for. Once again, it is going to be available in the early part of 2025. The Deozyme is a product which has grown in popularity, especially over the last 12-18 months. It is not only simply an enzyme product, but it is a bioenzyme product. So it is based on these microbes which generate the enzymes, the bioenzymes. It gives you a full bacterial ability. So that's why we call it a quad bacterial enzyme action. Break down the uric crystals and any of the other organic matter that is there, and overcomes the ability of the urine crystal to emit ammonia, neutralizes out the bacteria, and has got the Elimatech odor neutralizing technology in it, and the fresh replacement scent, a very, very nice fresh replacement scent. You dilute that product down about 1:8 to 1:16. So it becomes very, very economical. The nice thing about the Deozyme is it's a product that you'll love to have on your shelf for any of your severe malodor jobs that you have, apart from urine, trying to remove raw sewage smells, fish smells, across the board, any organic smells. Deozyme is certainly a product worthwhile giving a go. Now, coming in the middle of the early part of 2025, once again, we are introducing a ready-to-use version, which has also got stronger stain removal properties. Now, having a look at the removal of the stains themselves, we spoke about the need for hydrogen peroxide for those tough, robust, stubborn stains. And this is where the Spot Away U and the Conqueror 2 fit in. So the Spot Away U is a more simplistic product in the sense that it is simply a dilution of hydrogen peroxide in there at about 5%. So it is a low-cost version of sorting out urine stains, that is, if at the end of the job, if there's any shadow that is left. The Conquer O2, however, is a fully built hydrogen peroxide spot remover. So it has the same and even increased ability to remove those urine stains. However, it has got very, very high wetting ability. It has also got other stain removal action in it. In addition to the encapsulation technology, which Conquer O2 is so renowned for. So Conquer O2, for many of you that may have it already, that is a #1 product for removing urine stains. Now, putting them all together on this chart, we've got odor neutralization on the left-hand side, and we've got stain removal on the right-hand side. Very difficult to have one product that does everything to the 100%. So the Deozyme certainly is the go-to when we're focusing on the odor neutralization. Pet and Flood gives us a very, very good overall, on both. And then the Conquer O2 and the Spot OAU on the hydrogen peroxide side, very, very powerful on the stain removal side of things. So that's where you can see sometimes you will need to use 2 products in a process, depending on what the job involves in your urine decontamination. So the process is so important. And remember that urine gets spread extensively underneath the carpet. So a spill on the top of the carpet, which looks like the size of a, let's say 100 mil by 100 mil, could be the size of a dinner plate underneath the carpet. And we need to understand that. So we need to treat much greater area. So the first thing is to do a thorough scope of the job. And I've got some details down there, which many of you are aware of. Your nose being the very first tool that you need to use. The UV light, moisture meter, these are all things that you can use to identify where the urine is. And then also knowing the substrate, make sure that you know the substrates. And also knowing the substrate that's under the carpet as well. Is it wooden floorboards? Is it concrete? This will make a difference as to how far the urine has contaminated the area that has been spilt in. Then it's the pre-qualification. Have that frank conversation with the client. I've discussed that. Never promise stain removal. Mutually agree that some fiber dyes may have been affected and that color change loss may occur. And remember that the urine issue is their problem. The minute you start making promises, the urine issue then becomes your problem. So make sure that you leave the urine issue in their basket. It's their problem to start with, and you are there to help. You are not there to take ownership of it. The third part of the process is the removal, and that is removing the uric crystal. So ensure that you understand what is required to remove the uric crystal. It is either enzymes or it is those organic acids. Ensure that you understand that. The fourth part of it is removing the stain. And this is where much of the stain may have been removed, maybe all of it. But where you land up with stubborn stains, you may need to go down the hydrogen peroxide route. I've also just got a little bit of a suggestion there in relation to sodium percarbonate, which is the Actichem OxyBoost Plus, because many of you may have that. Not a grand idea on carpets, but really, really good on hard surfaces in removing urine stains. This can be on floorboards, or it can be on grout lines or on concrete. Sodium percarbonate mixed up with a alkaline tile cleaning solution makes a very, very formidable force for removing those urine stains. And of course the bacterial contamination as well. Then there's the odor control. By this stage, most of the odor should have been removed. The odor source should have been removed, but we do need that Elimatech technology to neutralize the remaining male odor molecules. And then lastly, it's that replacement scent. We do need to provide a replacement scent to reboot the olfactory sensors. Urine decontamination has a strong underlying sensory factor. Don't ignore this. So I'd like to just give you a step-by-step method of doing it. Now, many of you are going to have your own step-by-step methods of doing it. I'm just going to provide you a couple that will provide you something that you'll be able to use and optimize depending on the equipment you use and depending on how your team operates. But light to moderate contamination, we can use the pet and flood, or we can use the Actichem Deozyme. And what we suggest in there is to generously spray the area sufficient to reach the base of the carpet and agitate, allow the 10 minutes dwell time. If pet and flood is used, extract with water or rinse pro. However, if Deozyme is used, vacuum only. Do not rinse with water. And why do I say that? Is because by vacuuming only, you will leave the bacterial enzymes in the carpet and they will continue to work. Over many hours, continue to digest that organic matter, those uric crystals, and providing a very, very comprehensive decontamination of that urine contamination. If stain removal is required, spray, apply the Conqueror 2 and agitate, blot away or vacuum away the excess moisture. If Deozyme is used, just dampen a white cloth with the CO2 and blot the stain. Do not spray apply, simply because the Conqueror 2 with the hydrogen peroxide in it will actually kill off those bioenzymes that are in the Deozyme. I also just want to give you a tip in relation to pet and flood. You can add hydrogen peroxide to it. So I've given you a little bit of a recipe there. For a litre, 700 mils of water, 240 mils of Actichem pet and flood, and 60 mils of the Actichem Perox. That's the hydrogen peroxide. Now you have a solution which not only provides you amazing removal of the uric crystal, but it also provides you that ability to remove the toughest of stains all in one go, in one operation. And if you want to take it one step further, you can use hot water. But just remember that when you use hot water, you really energize in the hydrogen peroxide, and you do stand a chance of damaging fiber, the dyes in fibers, especially on nylon, on wool fibers. So I'd only go using it on some of the more tough solution dyed fibers, whether they're nylon or polypropylene. Another guide is for heavy contamination, and this is where the steps are very similar. The rules apply are all the same, with the exception that we have to treat the back of the carpet as well. So you'll need to pull that carpet back, even if it's only the one side of it, simply to get to where the stain is. Remember that a lot of dogs and cats urinate in corners or on the edges. So we'll need to pull back the affected area of the carpet, remove the underlay, the underlay, and or the padding, whatever word you want to call it, and replace that, and treat both the floorboards, the back of the carpet, and the front of the carpet with the pet and flood or the Deozyme, whichever one that you have decided to go with. Remember that where you've got heavy contamination, you might also have the greasy deposits of the cholesterol that we spoke about earlier. There is another method of handling heavy contamination, and this is where we flood the carpets with the pet and flood or the Deozyme. And when I say flood the carpet, I'm talking about flooding it literally with a watering can. So you're putting the solution on that carpet to the point where it definitely goes down as far as the floorboards or the concrete, because this is where the urine has got to. And then we need to ensure that we're able to extract that out. Now, the only way of extracting it out sufficiently is with a water claw. Now, if you don't have a water claw on site, or you're not going to use a water claw, do not try this method. Try simply with a carpet cleaning wand, because you will not get it dry enough and you'll end up with a bunch of secondary problems. So if you've got a water claw in hand and you definitely are able to use it, this option can provide you with a very effective way of sorting out urine contamination that is very heavy. So thank you very much. Really appreciate the privilege of speaking to you, and enjoy the rest of your trade show, your trade day, and have a great afternoon. Thank you very much.